On the interview segment for today, we focus on the battle for Senate presidency and matters arising with the public affairs analyst and former state secretary, youth leader of the defunct ANPP in Kogi State, Atiku Abubakar Isa, as our guest. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us. Still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines and now to some developments in the polity. President Bola Tinubu has met with the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria as part of their custom to felicitate with the country's leaders whenever there is a change of leadership. The Sultan of Sokoto and the Oni of Ife, who are both co-chair of the Council of Traditional Rulers, assured President Tinubu of their support and commitment to ensure success of his administration. They acknowledged that President Tinubu emerged at a very difficult time in Nigeria's history, but believe he has shown capacity and competence required to lead the country. The traditional rulers offered to help the government in achieving the goals of the administration.
That's what's going to bring Nigeria to its heel is the subsidy. A country that cannot pay salary and save potential. We encourage ourselves. We did the right thing. It's in your hand. As the closest people to the local government, to the grassroots, to persuade our people, to have the understanding. This price will be high now, but it will go down, and we will continue in ways that will help you. We are all heirs. We are ready to listen. Any given time, I promise you an open door policy, and that is the way I will go. That open door policy is for you to call me, send to me, any given time, or any concern that you might have. We may not have it right 100% of the time, but we must get it right 90% of the time for this.
The federal government has disclosed that celebration of the 2023 Democracy Day will be celebrated on a low key. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, disclosed this at the unveiling of lineup of activities to commemorate 2023 Democracy Day. The theme for this year's celebration, Hope Reassured, can be seen as a call for Nigerians to support the government to deliver on its promise of restoring the country's past glory.
In light of this, the theme of this year's democracy celebration is Hope Reassured. And all of you know that societies are great, nations are great because the citizenry have hope that tomorrow will be better than today. It is pertinent to state that having had an elaborate presidential inauguration this year, activities to mark the 2023 June 12 Democracy Day will be low-key.
We've just had a celebration, the inauguration, just a few days, in my estimation, a few days ago. But beyond that is the fact that it is meant to signal or symbolize a cost-cutting policy of this administration. Is ideally a cost-cutting measure. And there is no more significant place to start off with this cost-cutting policy than celebration of the Democracy Day that is quite a watershed in the annals of Nigeria.
The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has dismissed a suit seeking the tenure elongation of former President Muhammadu Buhari, pending when the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal will deliver its judgment. The plaintiffs had also sought an order from the court directing the former president not to hand over to President Bola Tinubu until the petitions at the tribunal are finally disposed of. At the proceedings where the matter was slated for mention, the plaintiffs and their counsel were absent from court. At the last adjourned date, the plaintiffs were also absent from court. The presiding judge, Justice Inyang Eko, held that the plaintiffs were duly informed about the proceedings, but they decided to run away, knowing that their prayers were unconstitutional. The court noted that if the plaintiffs were present in the court, orders would have been made against them. Let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, who is a public affairs analyst and former state secretary, youth leader of the defunct ANPP in Kogi State, Atiku Abubakar Issa, for discussion on the battle for Senate presidency and matters arising. Please stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the first guest of the day. I am joined by a public affairs analyst and former state secretary, youth leader of the defunct ANPP in Kogi State, Atiku Abubakar Issa, for discussion on the battle for Senate presidency and matters arising. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's start with politics in your states, Kogi State. Tell me, how is the mood ahead of the governorship election in November?
Yes, even though officially the candidates are not supposed to have commenced campaign, but they are going about indirectly campaigning. Because last week there was an attack and claims and counterclaims. Are you there?
Please go ahead.
Yes. There were claims and counterclaims from the governor of Kogi State, His Excellency Alhaji Ayabelo, and the candidate of the SDP. We are watching, and we hope the security agencies will do their work and ensure a peaceful campaign throughout the period.
All right. Kogi is one of the 3 states having the first set of elections after the 2023 polls. What do you think needs to be done to ensure credible conduct?
Yes. First and foremost, and the most important thing will be for the security agencies to be unbiased, because as it is now, the tension is high because of because the 3 geopolitical zones, the 3 zones, the 3 senatorial zones have produced candidates: the Kogi East, Kogi Central, and Kogi West, and it is taking an ethnic dimension, which is not very good for our dear state. Because in the past, it was more of a party affair. But as it is today, it has taken ethnic dimension.
Why do you say so?
Because Kogi East has a retired general in the person of Usman Jibril, who has great support from Kogi East, where he comes from. Also, from the Central, there is a candidate, Usman Ododo, who also has great support from Kogi Central. And from the West, there is a member of House of Reps, Abejide, who has also dominated Kogi West. These are the three candidates that are leading for now.
All right, so what is the impact on this on the forthcoming elections?
Come again?
What is the impact of this on the forthcoming election? What's the impact of this?
The tension and the fighting that has begun already before even the campaign. That is the impact, and we fear loss of lives. But we are confident that the President and Commander-in-Chief will do the needful and direct the security agencies to be unbiased and to ensure that a free and fair, credible election is conducted in Kogi State.
All right. So now let's move to the business of the day. The 9th National Assembly is winding down. I mean, a lot has been said about this outgoing assembly. But from your own perspective, how will you describe the assembly?
The 9th Assembly, in my opinion, did not actually do well because the outgoing Senate President was more like a rubber stamp Senate President. And it is for that reason that we are clamoring for a more competent man to emerge as the President of the Senate in the 10th Assembly.
So if you say the 9th Assembly was rubber-stamped, what gave you that impression? What are those factors that you saw for you to have said that?
You will recall that the outgoing Senate President did say that whatever the former President brings, he will approve, which means the principle of check and balance has been thrown away, which is the cardinal principle of democracy.
But some of the lawmakers have said the reason a lot of persons would have said the 9th Assembly was rubber-stamped is because of the cordial relationship between both arms of government. Do you agree?
No, I don't agree with that. Of course, we also want the 10th Assembly to have a cordial relationship with the executive, but they should do the needful and to ensure that the interest of Nigeria is protected.
All right. Now, the 10th National Assembly will be proclaimed on June 13, with the opposition having tremendous numbers. What should Nigerians expect?
Come again?
The 10th Assembly will be proclaimed on the 13th of June, with the opposition having so many numbers. What should Nigerians expect?
Nigerians expect the opposition lawmakers to ensure that they vote and do what will be good for our dear country, and vote those who are credible, not those who had the opportunity of running down their states. Because we know those who are aspiring for the leadership of the 10th Assembly, some have antecedents of running down their state and ensuring that their states are up there in the index of poverty.
All right, Mr. Issa. Now, 7 parties will be represented at the incoming National Assembly. For you, what's the impact of this on democracy and national development?
The impact of?
The impact of this on national development and democracy.
Well, the impact will be negative if the right thing is not done. And that's why we are calling on the senators-elect to ensure that they do not follow the bandwagon, but to do what is right. And we hope they will do that.
All right. You said it would be negative. What do you mean by that?
in the sense that if the lawmakers do not ensure checks and balance, if the lawmakers do not get it right by electing credible men and women to preside over the affairs of the National Assembly, what I mean by this is, if they do not elect a man with character and wisdom to be Senate President, Deputy Senate President, or Speaker and Deputy Speaker, then Nigeria might be in for it.
All right, so what are those things you think we should look out for?
What we should look out for in the 10th Assembly is to get the presiding officers who do not have criminal charges against them, so that they will be able to concentrate and provide the necessary leadership in the 10th Assembly.
All right, besides now with about 7 political parties in the incoming National Assembly, many agree that, or many say that this will help our democracy to grow. Do you share this sentiment?
If we want our democracy to grow?
Yes. Many say this will help our democracy grow. Do you share this sentiment?
Yes, it is good for our democracy. It is not the best for one party to dominate the affairs. But with what we have, I want to believe that once we get it right at the leadership level, with numerous political parties in the 10th Assembly, we are going to see a robust National Assembly.
All right. The race for the principal positions in the incoming 10th National Assembly has been on for a while. How will you describe the race so far? Yes,
I want to believe that most Nigerians are not happy because of the stories we hear in the media. For example, the Senate. It was said that South and Akpabio was adopted, but that is yet to be confirmed. And also for the speakership, that Abbas from Kaduna State was also adopted. But this is most especially the Senate. This is not good for our democracy, considering the fact that when Senator Akpabio was governor of Akwa Ibom State, it was alleged that he diverted over 100 billion, according to the EFCC. And an American diplomat did say something regarding corruption when he was governor, that it was a fantastic corruption, if I remember very well. So if a man is facing criminal charges, that man should not be adopted as a consensus candidate for an institution like the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, in the event that he is convicted and sent to prison, will he now preside over the affairs of the Senate from prison? That is the question. And also, considering the fact that if you recall, a day before the presidential primaries in 2022, the APC presidential primaries, I was here and granted an interview. The same scenario that played out then is the same scenario that is playing out now. I did say that among all the aspirants vying for the presidency of Nigeria, one man clearly stands out, and that man is Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu. That he contributed much more than any other aspirant, and he deserved the vote of the delegates. I pleaded with the delegates to vote Asiwaju to see that he is rewarded. It is the same thing I am doing today. I'm also pleading with the senators-elect to elect the best man for the job, the man who was National Organizing Secretary of All Progressives Congress when Akpabio was in PDP. If Senator Izunaso and the president and other APC leaders did not come together to form the APC to fight the PDP, there wouldn't have been a party that would have contested even the Senate. Now, we are not talking about only him becoming the Senate president. The issue is that of morality. He does not have the moral right. The Writers Association also condemned his adoption. And the fact is that if you look at the Southeast, where Senator Izunaso comes from, the Southeast has been marginalized over the years. Southeast was completely off the leadership in the last administration. With the positive direction the President and Commander-in-Chief has taken, by the various appointments which we have seen, from the appointment of Chief of Staff and that of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, we know the President means well for the country. He needs to stamp his authority and do what will make Nigerians to believe that those who did not vote for him were wrong, and those who voted for him were right, is for him to ensure that the best man among all those who are aspiring to be Senate President is elected. And that man is Senator Izunaso. He comes from the marginalized zone of Southeast. He is also a ranking member. He is the highest ranking senator among all those who are contesting for the president of the Senate. He was in the House of Representatives in 2003 to 2007. He was a senator from 2007 to 2011. Before then, he was chief press secretary to the Speaker. Also, he was chief press secretary to the Senate President. So he has all of these experiences going for him. Not the experiences and the wisdom which he has only, but he is the most humble among all those who are aspiring to be Senate President. I have had the privilege of either directly meeting with them or indirectly. And he has this wisdom going for him and the humility the current president will need, so that he will not be antagonistic to the executive, and he will never be a rubber stamp. Because he demonstrated that when he was National Organizing Secretary. The office of the National Organizing Secretary being the engine room of all political parties, he was able to coordinate the activities of primary elections and to ensure that it was rancor-free. He did this, and he demonstrated also to be the best man for the president of the Senate by the motions, bills he sponsored. That is why I want to use this opportunity to call on the President and Commander-in-Chief, and also call on the Vice President of our dear country to ensure that this man who worked with them tirelessly when the others were on the other side of the divide is not left without being rewarded. If he is not rewarded, then others will feel that there will be no need to work for the party.
All right, Mr. Issa, now we need to take a break, but when we come back from that break, I would kindly urge you to please focus on the issues at hand and not make allegations that are yet to be substantiated or deliberated on by the court. All right, let's take a break and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
In the corridors of power, a new chapter unfolds. The 10th National Assembly beckons, and at its helm, a leader of unwavering resolve and unyielding dedication, Senator Godswill Akpabio, a beacon of hope for a brighter Nigeria. From the halls of governance to the Senate floor, Senator Akpabio's journey has been one of fearless leadership and steadfast commitment. His vision for a prosperous Nigeria echoes through his every action, from commissioner to governor, from senator to minister. Senator Akpabio's remarkable journey has left an indelible mark on Nigeria. His uncommon transformation has reverberated across the nation, earning him the nickname Uncommon. Beyond his remarkable accomplishments, Senator Akpabio's heart beats for the unity of our great nation. Today, as he aspires to be the Senate's president of the 10th Senate, Senator Akpabio's unyielding passion for an egalitarian Nigeria fuels his vision for a united nation, where every citizen's voice is heard and respected. Support Senator Godswill Akpabio for the Senate President of the 10th Senate and join the movement for a united Nigeria, where our shared aspirations become our collective reality.
Thank you very much for staying with us. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And tonight, we're discussing the battle for Senate presidency and matters arising with the public affairs analyst and former state secretary, youth leader of the defunct ANPP in Kogi State, Atiku Abubakar Isa. All right, Mr. Isa, before we went on that break, you made a case for Senator Osita Izunazo. We will get back there. But this uproar generated by the decision of APC to nominate candidates for positions is yet to die down. What do you think is the way forward?
We believe in the capacity of the President and Commander-in-Chief. He is a Democrat. He is a man who has shown capacity over the years. We are very sure that it will be revisited, and the best man for the job will be adopted. And that best man, like I said, is Senator Izunaso Osita. Because he's the cleanest. Everything I say is in the media. Unlike the other candidates, he is the only candidate who has been in leadership positions since 1999 till date without any accusation of diversion of funds. So he remains the cleanest, the most competent. And as such, we know the president knows him, and he will ensure that he works with the best man so that this country can move forward.
So what do you think is the way forward? What is the way forward?
The way forward is for the senators-elect and the leadership of APC, also with the senators-elect from the opposition political parties, to ensure that the best man emerges as the Senate President, also the best man emerges as the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives. It is clear that all of those aspiring have antecedents. Two of those aspiring for Senate President were governors in their respective states. Yari was a governor between 2011 and 2015. Zamfara State, where he governed, is among the states that the National Bureau of Statistics said is among the poorest states. And it is known to all Nigerians, the affluence of Yari. We do not need people, not only the affluence, which he displays, coming from a state where over 70% of the indigents of his state are extremely poor. Now, we do not need such a man as president of the Senate.
Once again,
important thing we need to put into consideration.
Mr. Isa, kindly listen to me. Please, once again, I would like you to focus on issues and not attack personalities. All right, so in the absence of consensus before next week, do you consider throwing the contest open for aspirants as the best option?
Yes. Throwing the contest open will be the best. It will be an alternative. But the best thing will be the adoption of Senator Izunaso, because of reasons which I have stated some. Because among those aspiring, he is the highest ranking senator. He is the most experienced, the most humble, and the most prepared for the job, the cleanest among them. With all of this, I think the best thing to be done, and the best thing for the party, is to adopt Senator Izunaso to ensure that the people of the Southeast are placated so that they will feel and also appreciate the fact that there's not a gang up against them. Because the way it is now, if the Southeast is left like that, anybody from that region will feel there is a gang up against them. And that is what we do not want, because we need unity to be able to move forward. There's something very important I need to state. We all know that the president is a Muslim. The vice president is a Muslim. If we allow the North to produce the Senate president, it means the Senate president will be a Muslim. And it is most likely that the speaker is going to be a Muslim. Also, the Chief Justice of the Federation is a Muslim. We need to understand something. I, being a Muslim, I know that Islam recognizes and appreciates good Christians, as stated in the glorious Quran, in chapter 5, verse 82.
I understand your preference. But your part, the APC has nominated some candidates. So I'm asking, in the absence of consensus before next week, do you consider throwing the contest open for aspirants as the best option? Do you think it's the best option?
It is an alternative, but the best option remains the adoption of Senator Izunaso. In the absence of that, then the contest can be thrown open. And we also believe the senators-elect will do the needful and ensure that Senator Izunaso is elected as the president of the Senate.
All right. Now, the president met with members-elect, and he has urged them to vote for their own leader. What impact do you think this will have on the race?
Come again?
The president met with senators-elect, members-elect, and he has urged them to vote for their own leader. What impact do you think this will have on the race?
What we are saying, we are talking about national unity. We are talking about the progress of our dear country. The interest of our country should be most paramount to any senator-elect or member-elect, not party interest or any other affiliation.
All right. Now, one of the senators, and that's Ali Ndume, insists that Akpabio is on course to emerge as the next Senate president, with 75 members backing him already. Now, do you agree with this, and do you see that playing out next week?
Distinguished Senator Ndume also said that they are supporting Akpabio because it's the position of the party. But I want to remind him that in 2019, he went against the decision of the party and the decision of the then President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So he has been consistently inconsistent. With that, we can say that there are no such number of senators supporting Senator Akpabio. To the best of my knowledge, I had the rare privilege of meeting a senator-elect in Transcorp. In the course of our discussion, I spoke to him and tried to convince him of the need to elect the most competent, which is Senator Izunaso. He told me that Izunaso is my friend, and we are all supporting him. He is a senator from one of the opposition political parties. So with the numbers and the discussion I had with him, I know the number of senators supporting Senator Izunaso is far more than the number of senators supporting any other candidate. But what we are appealing is for the party to adopt Senator Izunaso, not because we are very optimistic, because we know the senators that are supporting him are far more than the senators supporting any other candidate.
How many senators are supporting him?
I can't say the number because I do not attend their meetings. I only meet with them individually. And those I have met did say to me that we know that Izunaso remains the most competent and most prepared for the job. And as such, we are giving him our vote. And this happened This has happened on several occasions in Transcorp when I do go to visit some of the senators-elect. And that gives me a lot of joy because I have come to realize that we have responsible and honorable men and women elected as senators of the Federal Republic.
All right, so the likes of Senators Yari, Kalu, and Izunazu have refused to dropped out of the race. And I thought that the party should be supreme. Why have they found it hard to follow the party's guidelines?
Yes, the party is supreme. You will also recall that the leadership of the party said that they are going to review the adoption. And because of that, they have indirectly given them the go-ahead to continue to lobby senators-elect before the final decision. The adoption of Akpabio is not the final decision of the party, and it's also not the decision of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It still remains speculation as at this moment. The final decision will be made known. And we are optimistic that the party and the president will adopt Senator Izunaso.
All right. So some people say the president should have used this meeting with the newly elected National Assembly members to canvass for the candidate of his choice. Do you agree that the president should have made his preference known to the generality of lawmakers?
You are just confirming my statement. If Akpabio was the consensus candidate, the president, being a true Democrat, would have done that to canvass for Akpabio. But he never did that because he knows that Akpabio is not the consensus candidate. And we appreciate the president for that. And we'll continue to pray for him, for God's guidance.
Well, you say Senator Izunazo has a lot of senators backing him, but it is also said that Senator-elect Abdulaziz Yari has been gaining ground rapidly in the last 2 weeks. Is this true? And if this is true, what is responsible for this?
These are all speculations. No candidate, as at today, has the number of senators-elect like Senator Izunaso. I don't want to sound in a way that some persons will feel insulted. The camp of Senator Yari is receiving visitors, not necessarily senators-elect. People are trooping in to meet with him because he is the richest, one of the richest senators elected as of today. And people will always want to get whatever they can get from him. But when it comes to the real voting, they will vote their conscience and vote the person that will ensure checks and balances in the 10th Assembly.
So are you saying there are speculations because he's not your preferred candidate for the position?
I want to let you know that I am a Northerner. And I will always defend the interest of the North. But at this moment, the interest of the country supersedes the interest of the region where I come from. I am not supporting Yari. And I will also meet with my wife and children to consider renouncing my citizenship in the unlikely event that that Yari emerges as the Senate President.
All right. Now, some people like Senators Izunazo and Orji Uzor obviously still in the race. And now, don't you think it will damage their chances if one of them doesn't step down for the other?
Senator Orji Uzor, knowing fully well that Senator Izunazo is the highest ranking senator from the South-South and the Southeast, will definitely step down for Izunaso. We are optimistic because we see him as a leader who wants the country to move forward, and he will not want to do anything to jeopardize the chances of Southeast.
Why do you think he should step down? Or are you having a conversation with him already?
No. I want to believe that he will do the right thing. Having served as governor of a state in the southeast, he will not do anything to jeopardize. We are talking about jeopardizing the chances of southeast, and also we are talking about the interest of the country. And the interest of the country at this moment is the most prepared and most competent man for the job. He knows that Senator Izunaso was in the Senate before him, was in the National Assembly before him. As far back as 2003, Izunaso was in the National Assembly. He was chief press secretary. All of these experiences, when it comes to the National Assembly, Senator Izunaso is ahead of Senator Ojuzo Kalu. But when you talk about the executive position, then you can give it to Ojuzo Kalu. But so we are talking about the institution of the Senate, and that's why we believe that he will do the right thing. And the right thing is for him to speak to all those who are supporting him, to give their support to Senator Izunaso.
All right, so in the last 25 minutes, you've been campaigning so hard for Senator Izunaso, but there are those who say the Southeast's desire to clinch the Senate presidency is not helped by APC's poor performance in that region. Do you agree?
Not really. APC couldn't have performed better in the last election in the Southeast, because Southeast in the last administration was completely marginalized. Politics is give and take. I do not even understand how they are able to get the votes they got for the party. Don't forget that others from northwest, southwest, I had certain positions going for them. When they were going for campaigns, usually when you go for campaign and you have elected officials or you have people with certain positions, it helps you. It makes a lot of people to support your party because they know that region is well represented. But Southeast was not represented at all. They had nobody within the security agency, I mean at the top. They had no vice president. They had not produced the president. So how do you expect them to perform better? So that was the reason they couldn't. They have done well. The votes they brought relatively is okay.
Okay, so if you agree that the Southeast did not perform well, why do you think it is not right for the APC to reward the South-South for performing better?
I said relatively, they have performed well, in the sense that they had no positions. They were like orphans in the party. How do you expect their people to vote for the same party? The South-South did not perform well. They had the deputy Senate president. They had the minister for petroleum. The minister of petroleum, that ministry in the local palace is a juicy ministry. The Southeast cannot boast of all of these things. So relatively, the Southeast did well. Don't forget, they had P2B contesting. And because of the marginalization, the people of the Southeast felt the best thing would be for them to vote for their own. And that was the reason why APC recorded low votes in the Southeast. So the reason is justifiable.
All right, so some people have argued that based on this, they shouldn't even get anything from the current administration.
Based on this, it is the reason mind you, the president and commander-in-chief is a true Democrat and a man who wants to move the entire country forward. Now, if you want the agitation in the Southeast to stop, you need a man like Izunaso as Senate president. I can assure you and Nigerians that in the event that Senator Izunaso emerges as the Senate president, he will be able to sit down with the youths and those agitating in the Southeast, to talk to them, to stop the agitation, And stopping the agitation is what we desire in order to move this country forward. And that is the reason why we are asking and praying that Senator Izunaso emerges as the Senate President, so that the agitation in the Southeast can be stopped. They need somebody they have confidence in to be able to speak to them. If he doesn't get the position, he will not be able to stand with authority to call them and plead with them to stop the agitation. The agitation is as a result of the marginalization. So if you continue to marginalize them, then you are throwing the country into further confusion. Because if there's confusion in the Southeast, automatically there will be confusion in other parts of the country. And that is what we want to avoid.
All right, so you're saying the deputy speakership position is not enough to do this magic?
No. The truth is that giving the deputy speakership position to the Southeast is insulting the sensibility of the Southeast.
All right, so the APC hierarchy promised to look into the situation through adequate consultation, but nothing in that regard yet. With a few days to the inauguration of the incoming assembly, what does this tell us?
There is high hope. The leadership is having a series of meetings. And before Tuesday, there will be a pronouncement. We are optimistic, we are hopeful that the adoption will be favorable to us.
All right, Mr. Issa, how do you assess the president so far? Are you convinced he will live up to his promises?
The president has been able to do wonderfully well. Most Nigerians, across party lines, are happy with all the steps the president has taken so far. He assented to the electricity bill, which will now give private companies to be able to generate electricity. He has been working in a way that seems he is younger than 40 years. So we are happy, Nigerians are happy. The only thing left for Mr. President to do is to ensure that Southeast gets the Senate President. That is the only thing left for now. And we know with the way he has started, that will also be achieved.
All right, do you support the subsidy removal?
I 100% support the subsidy removal, but with a caveat. Certain things should be done to cushion the effect. The subsidy removal by the president shows his leadership capacity. Billions of naira have been wasted over the years, pocketed by some Nigerians in the name of subsidy. Now the true number of liters we consume per day is about to be known. This is because of the leadership capacity of the president. And we will continue to pray for him.
All right. So how will you advise the president to turn things around in the country?
He should continue in the same direction which he has started. He should also ensure the spread of political positions, just like he has done. He took the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to North Central and gave it to a man deserving of that position. And a man respected by Nigerians was also appointed as the Chief of Staff. That is Gbajabiamila. So Nigerians are happy. All of these appointments that he has made so far shows his capacity to perform as a leader.
All right, so let's quickly talk about insecurity. With some of the steps he has taken so far, how confident are you in his ability to tackle insecurity head on?
On this, I will advise the president. One of the major reasons why insecurity has continued is because of the amount of money, allegedly, the heads of the various security agencies are making. There should be a political will. He needs to stamp his authority and investigate the heads of the various security agencies to ensure that they do not in any way continue to make the insecurity to promote the insecurity so as to get increased budgetary provision. That is one aspect the president needs to look into. That is one of the major reasons why insecurity has continued. But with his leadership style, with the energy which he has put into office, we are hopeful that the heads of the various security agencies have gotten the signal that it is not going to be business as usual.
All right, so related to insecurity is youth unemployment. How do you think the president should address this as part of issues relating to insecurity, especially in the north?
The president needs to ensure that all the children go back to school. He needs to fund education. There is a level an educated mind will never descend to. But if people are left without the necessary education and guidance, of course, all of these crimes will continue. The president should stamp his authority. I keep on repeating this word. There is no way we should allow people to give birth to children and throw them in the street. They will constitute nuisance and continue to increase the insecurity. Something needs to be done. Leaders have to be called to sit down on a round table and tell the truth so that this does not continue. The most important thing will be to fund education. There's one aspect which we are not really looking at, which is the primary and secondary education. I've had the privilege of taking my time to meet with students from secondary school. I realized something very painful, which is a good number of students in secondary school don't study. They depend on cheating to pass their examination. If this is allowed to continue, it means in the nearest future, we cannot have qualified doctors. We cannot have qualified engineers. So the president needs to look into this. This is very serious.
All right. Thank you very much. I've been speaking with Atiku Abubakar Isa, public affairs analyst and former state secretary, youth leader of the defunct ANPP in Kogi State. Tonight we discuss the battle for the Senate presidency and matters arising. Thank you very much, Mr. Isa, for coming on the program tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. I'll see you on Monday.
Itchy, greasy, and smelly braids can be a thing of the past. Introducing the new Ruwa braids from Expression. Made with 100% Aquatex fiber from Canicolon. The new Ruwa braids from Expression is extremely fast drying and perfect for friction-free washing. Stay dry this season with the new Ruwa braids from Expression. Now available in pre-stretch and regular braid variants and in beauty shops near you.
The new Happic sachets. It has a thick formula, so all you need is just one sachet for your toilet bowl. It gives 10 times better cleaning and big savings too.
Wow, Helen!
Sparkling clean toilet with Happic sachet.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Do you spend the night trying to get comfortable? Your knees rub bone on bone, your back and hips ache. You wake up in pain? Not anymore. ShopX TV is proud to introduce the Contour Legacy Pillow, the patented, ergonomically designed tapered leg pillow that naturally fits the contours of your legs, knees and thighs to help align your spine and alleviate pain. Watch, when you sleep on your side, your leg falls forward, twisting your pelvis and lower back, putting pressure on your spine, hip and sciatic. But the Contour Legacy Pillow cushions your knees and cradles your legs, relieving stress on joints while restoring your lower back alignment. Sleeping on your side, your leg comes over and puts you out of alignment, causing lower back pain, hip pain, even knee pain. By using the Contour Legacy Pillow, it restores the natural alignment of the spine, helping to alleviate pain and pressure, leading to much more restful sleep. Old-fashioned leg pillows are bulky, but the anatomical design of the Legacy Pillow fits perfectly the shape of your body the way nature intended. You can even use two together for full leg alignment. Legacy Pillow is exclusively ventilated, so it always stays cool and dry. With top crescent design, it cuddles up to you perfectly and easily moves with you. Ordinary pillows go flat, but the Legacy Pillow is made up of soft memory foam, so it never loses its shape and the cover is machine washable. The Contour Legacy Pillow is now available in Nigeria, exclusively from ShopX TV. You could be paying up to 500,000 naira for an orthopedic bed that doesn't properly support your spine. But call the number on your screen now and get 2 Legacy leg pillows for just 69,900 naira. And get relief from back and hip issues. But wait, if you call now, we'll upgrade you to the Contour Better Sleep Collection. The collection comes with 2 Contour Legacy leg pillows and 2 Contour Cool Gel head pillows at no extra charge. The Contour Cool Gel head pillows' soothing orthopedic support will cradle your head and neck for full alignment, while keeping you cool all through the night for the best sleep of your life. Incredible! That's 2 Contour Legacy pillows and 2 Cool Gel head pillows for just 69,900 naira. And that's not all. Place your order now and we'll also deliver your Contour Better Sleep collection with no shipping charge. But hurry! This is an exclusive ShopX TV offer and only available for a limited period. So, call now while stock lasts. Your rest is your wealth.
The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwàwọ̀ àràbà ń bí ọ̀nba rin lábẹ́ olórí current speaker right honourable Obasa Walimuda Shina mi Àjàyí Ògìdì Olú tèmi Agége 1 Obasa ló jẹ́ speaker kórí jẹ́ ọpẹ́ pẹ̀lú deputy speaker mi gbogbo yín kú àjò tí gbogbo wọn ṣe dáadáa. Ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwàwọ̀ àràbà ń bí ọ̀nba rin lábẹ́ olórí current speaker Right Honorable Obasa, Walimuda Shina Miaja Yogi Diolu Temi. Agege 1. Obasa lo jẹ́ speaker kórí jẹ́ ọpẹ́. Pẹ̀lú deputy speaker mi, gbogbo yẹn kú àjọ tí gbogbo wọn ṣe dáadáa.
Ọmọ wa ṣe bá yáwó bẹ́ẹ̀ lórí gbèsè. Wọ́lá wá ṣe. Wọ́lá wá ṣe. Wọ́lá wá ṣe. Ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó ti gbèsè o.
Ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́. Ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà rábà ń bí ọmọ rin. Lábẹ́ olórí current speaker Right Honorable Obasa Walimuda Shina Miaja Yogi Diolu Temi. Agege 1. Obasa ló jẹ́ speaker kórí jẹ́ ọpẹ́. Pẹ̀lú deputy speaker mi, gbogbo yẹn kú àjọ tí gbogbo wọn ṣe dáadáa.
Ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó ti gbèsè o.
Ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́. Ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà rábà ń bí ọmọ rin.
On the 5th of June 2019, the 9th Lagos State House of Assembly was inaugurated. The 4-year journey came to an end on the 6th of June 2023 as the 10th Assembly takes over the baton after an election that saw the emergence of 20 returning lawmakers and 20 newly elected members. The State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu was among dignitaries that witnessed another memorable moment in the history of the State Assembly. Commending the 9th Assembly for its support in the last 4 years, Governor Sanwo-Olu declared the 10th Assembly open.
I stand there and I want to assure you that as your governor, I stand neutral in your selection process. I'll expect you to do the right thing as always. My interest lies in ensuring that we work together. Today, we come together to commemorate a momentous occasion in our history, the proclamation of the 10th Lagos State House of Assembly. This ceremony symbolizes not just the continuity of our democracy, but also the vital role of legislative powers in our system of governance. The legislature, an indispensable pillar of our democracy, plays an essential and a vital role in the journey we have embarked upon as a nation. It is the embodiment of the hopes and aspirations of our people, a critical partner in the quest for good governance, and they are the custodian of our shared democratic values. This assembly is a testament to the strength of our democracy and the commitment of Lagosians to pursuit of excellence. On the 18th of March 2023, 40 members of the Lagos State House of Assembly were elected. In that same election, Mr. Deputy and Mr. Governor were also elected. So indeed, 42 of us were elected on the same day, on the 18th. And it's an honor that we're here to inaugurate this great assembly. Lagos State has always been a citadel of resilience and dynamism, leading the path in innovation, development, and cultural diversity. As we embark on a new journey, we are reminded of our shared commitment to bolster the prosperity of Lagos State and to improve the lives of every Lagosian. As we inaugurate this assembly today, you will also be conducting elections. Before I go to this assembly, let me thank, and as the clerk has said, thank the 9th Assembly. I want to, on behalf of the government and people of Lagos State, thank members of the 9th Assembly who worked with our government tirelessly and who ensured that the dividends of democracy is reflective with the collaboration of that assembly. Like I did say yesterday, I wish each and every one of them the very, very best in their future endeavor. Today is the turn of the 10th Assembly, an assembly that we believe will be vibrant, an assembly for the first time that is having 20 new member-elects and 20 returning members. And after my speech, we shall be conducting an election of the Speaker and other principal officers. This is a constitutional function that further demonstrates the strength of our democratic values. It is a significant event reminding us that the principles of fairness, respect, equity, and majority rule, and the protection of the right of the minority is the bedrock of our democracy.
The election of the Speaker and other principal officers of the House followed. The member representing the Fakojai constituency, Temitope Adedeji Adewale, nominated Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa as the Speaker of the 10th Assembly.
I hereby call on a member-elect to nominate a ranking member-elect to take the chair of the House as Speaker of the 10th Lagos State House of Assembly.
Member-elect, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the prestigious House of Assembly, Lagos State House of Assembly. My name is Member-elect Adewale Temitope Adedeji, OON, and I rise today to nominate Member-elect from Agege Constituency 1, Right Honorable Dr. Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa, to take the seat as the Speaker of the 10th Assembly. I so move.
Any seconder, please. Sylvester Ogunkelu Ekpetu.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I, Member-elect Ogunkelu Sylvester Oluwadahunse, member representing Ekpe Constituency 2, hereby rise this morning to second that Member-elect Dr. Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa, Agege Constituency 01, should take the chair as the Speaker of the 10th Assembly. So I second.
The nominee, Member-elect Dr. Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa, to please state whether he accepts the nomination or otherwise.
Distinguished Member-elect, Mr. Clerk, I rise to confirm my acceptance of my nomination made by Member-elect Temitope and seconded by Member-elect Sylvester Oluwadahunse. So accept, sir. Thank you.
By the power vested in me, the House rules and standing orders and all other powers, I hereby declare Member-elect Dr. Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa as the Speaker-elect of the 10th Lagos State House of Assembly.
Mudashiru Obasa Ajayi do solemnly swear that I will be faithful, bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as a member of Lagos State House of Assembly, I will perform my functions honestly to the best of my ability, faithfully, and in accordance with the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law and the rules of Lagos State House of Assembly, and always in the interest of sovereignty and integrity, solidarity, well-being and prosperity of Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will strive to preserve the fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policies contained in the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will abide by the Code of Conduct contained in the 5th schedule of the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me Allah.
Thank you, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Speaker of the 10th Lagos State House of Assembly.
Without opposition, Obasa was declared Speaker, while Mojisola Lasbat Miranda of Apapa Constituency 1 emerged as the Deputy Speaker.
I, Miranda Mojisola Lasbat, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
Other principal officers of the House were also announced.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you and I welcome you here to the inauguration of the 10th Assembly. As been said by the clerk, that he has his limitation as from this moment on, and the Speaker has taken charge. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Clerk, we thank you for your role and we appreciate all you have been doing. And I also want to welcome Mr. Governor, our amiable governor, the celebrity of our time, the performing governor, and his brother, Obafemi Ansah. We thank you. We can't thank you enough. I know and we know the role you play for us to have this session. We thank you. Likewise, our party leaders here with us this afternoon, the GAC, we thank you very much. We appreciate you. Agba Onitan Lori Ile, thank you very much. We thank you. I'll still come back to that, but before we go further, we still have constitutional responsibility to perform as given to the business rules and standing order of this House. We have other member-elect that will join Mr. Speaker and the Deputy Speaker to perform the responsibilities and duties assigned to them by same business rules and standing order of the House. But this time around, it's not going to be in the same form in which the Speaker emerged and the Deputy Speaker. So, we will be electing by voice votes the majority leader, deputy majority leader, the chief whip, and deputy chief whip for the 10th Assembly. And I pray Almighty Allah will direct all of us and guide us perfectly to serve the people of Lagos and the government of Lagos. In this wise, I will be putting to you, member-elect, the nomination of Honorable Nohim Adams as Majority Leader of the 10th Assembly, who is representing Etiosa Constituency 01. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those against, nay. The ayes have it. I am happy to announce to you that from this moment on, to the end of the 10th Assembly, Honorable Nohim Adams of Etiosa Constituency 01 will be the majority leader of the 10th Assembly.
The House elected Nohim Adams, representing Etiosa Constituency 1, as the majority leader of the 10th Assembly, while Damola Kasum of Ikeja Constituency 2 became deputy majority leader. Mojid Fatai of Ibejuleki Constituency 1 emerged as the chief whip of the House, as David Setonji of Badagry Constituency 2 is the new deputy chief whip of the 10th Assembly. The clerk of the House, Olalikon Ofeka, said the election of Obasa as the Speaker and Miranda as the Deputy Speaker was a unanimous decision taken by the 40 members.
I'm very elated, I'm happy, I'm very happy because the wish of the people, especially the members-elect, has come to fruition. 39 of us came together and decided that Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Dr. Mudashiru Obasa would speak again. Because of the good deeds he has done in the 8th and the 9th Assembly, he has been able to move the legislative arm of the government to the next phase, and he has done fantastically well in terms of private member bills, and a lot of bills and motions have been moved on the floor of the House. So yes, he has done again, and we have requested for him to come back to the House. The House now has about 20 new members and 20 old returning members, and we need his legislative experience and his wealth of experience to be put into use to steer the ship of the legislative arm to help to bring the dividend of democracy to the people in Lagos. And all we have learned in terms of legislative proceedings was taught to us by Right Honorable Dr. Mudashiru Obasa, and he's a fantastic teacher, he's a good listener, he's a good mentor, he's a good leader. He has taught us everything we know today, and I am very confident those new members that are coming in are also vast with knowledge and experience in different fields of life, and they understand the tenets of democracy and how democracy works, and they also understand a bit of legislation. They will learn and they will catch up fast, and they will learn very fast on the job. We know Obasa is very patient and is always quick to teach us. He will teach us all we need to know. The Lagosians don't have to worry about the House. The House will continue to be above the common standard of excellence as it has always been.
The Right Honorable Mudashiru Ajayi Obasa is one of the best speakers in West Africa, and he has truly strengthened this institution beyond means. And I think him leading again in the 10th Assembly is only going to bring Lagos State into more prosperity, inshallah. I think under the leadership of the Right Honorable, I think he knows how to address such issues, and I believe that he will train those that he needs to train adequately so that they can serve in this institution.
We need to learn a lot, first timers, but because of our induction programs we've been doing recently, so we know a lot already. We just intend to see it in practical. We're doing it more or less like reading it and seeing, being taught several things, but this is basically the main thing I would like to see how it's done in the legislative wing of the government. Because I personally intend on keeping my promises to my constituency, that's people, the good people of Lagos Island Constituency 1. I already made promises, but the main promise I'm going to make right now again is that I intend to make them proud.
The emergence of Mudashiru Obasa as the Speaker of 10th Assembly makes him the longest-serving Speaker in the State Assembly as well as in Nigeria. As the 10th Assembly begins legislative business in full swing, Obasa assures citizens of the state of a robust House and more impactful laws.
Pẹ̀lú deputy speaker mi, gbogbo yẹn kú àdótì gbogbo wọn ṣe dáadáa. Ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́rán lójoojúmọ́. Ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà rábà ń bí ọ̀n bá rìn. Lábẹ́ olórí current speaker Right Honorable Obasa Walimuda Shina mi Ajayi Ògìdì Olú tèmi. Agége 1 Obasa ló jẹ́ speaker kórìjẹ́ ọpẹ́. Pẹ̀lú deputy speaker mi. Gbogbo yẹn kú àdótì gbogbo wọn ṣe dáadáa. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin lábẹ́ olórí current speaker right honourable Obasa Walimuda Shina ní Àjàyí Ògìdì Olú tèmi Agége 1 Obasa ló jẹ́ speaker kórí jẹ́ ọpẹ́ pẹ̀lú deputy speaker mi gbogbo yín kú àjọ tí gbogbo wọn ń ṣe dáadáa. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ìlú Èkó ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú executive láti wóríire fún ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ní gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń dán mọ́ránmọ́rán lójoojúmọ́ ìtẹ̀síwájú láwa wà arábàǹgí ọ̀nba rin.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store. Kolishlasla Mandela was born into the Madiba clan on 18th July 1918. He got involved in politics in 1942 as he helped to form ANC Youth League. He was married to Evelyn Mays and they had 4 children. Mandela was arrested in a countrywide police swoop on 5th December 1956, which led to the 1956 treason trial. Before the end of the treason trial, he wrote to Prime Minister for vote to include a national convention on a non-racial constitution, and failure to adhere would result to a national strike. In August, he was arrested and charged for leaving the country without a permit and inciting workers to strike. He was convicted and sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. On 9th of October 1963, he was on trial with 10 others for sabotage in what became known as the Revolver trial. On the 11th of June 1964, Mandela and 7 other accused were convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. He was later released from its gates on Sunday, 11th of February 1990, 9 days after the unbanning of the ANC and the PAC. Nelson Mandela never wavered in his devotion to democracy, equality and learning as he immersed himself in official talks to end white minority rule. In 1991, he was elected ANC president to replace his ailing friend, Oliver Tambo. In 1993, he and President F.W. de Klerk jointly won the Nobel Peace Prize, and on 27th April 1994, he voted for the first time in his life. On 10th May, he was inaugurated as South Africa's first democratically elected president. He, however, stepped down in 1999 after 1 term as president. Despite terrible provocation, he never answered racism with racism. His life is an inspiration to all who were oppressed and deprived, and to all who were opposed to oppression and deprivation. He died at his home in Johannesburg on 5th December 2013.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Nigeria's fiscal authorities at the public presentation of the 2023 budget earlier this year made it known that subsidy payments would stop by June. They added that just 3.36 trillion naira had been earmarked to service the payment till mid-year. Nigeria's new president also highlighted this move in his inaugural speech.
Of fuel subsidy, unfortunately, the budget that I've glimpsed before I assume office and what I've heard is that no provision is there for fuel subsidy. The fuel subsidy is gone. Subsidy can no longer justify a ever increasing costs and the wake of dry resources. We shall instead rechannel whatever so forth to fund to better investment in public infrastructure, education, healthcare, and jobs that will materially improve lives for our people.
This has since led to a series of developments, with pump prices now officially put at between 488 to 550 naira per litre, varying from state to state. In Abuja, for example, most fuel stations now sell at 540 naira per litre. But the interesting part of it is that queues that characterized fuel stations have simply disappeared. And though it is now more expensive to fill car tanks, the task is completed faster. These Nigerians share their thoughts on the development.
Know that there are some people that are behind this subsidy, that the money is going to where it's not supposed to be going. But nevertheless, if they remove it, we know that it's for every Nigerian.
The removal of fuel subsidy is actually something that every government have said that they will do. The three candidates that contested for the presidential election say they will remove the fuel subsidy. It's actually a good thing that it is being removed.
Based on situation of things, past administration and what have you, subsidy has not been properly managed by the government. That's why I say it's a good thing. So since it has been improperly managed, it has to be removed so that an average man on the street can benefit from whatever money government has been investing in the subsidy regime.
It's a good thing for the country if applied well. But the situation at hand is this. I don't think the government has a very good policy that will enable them to implement the subsidy removal at a time, because I don't think our three refineries, the Kaduna refineries, Rivers refineries, and Warri refineries are working.
The NNPC Limited has assured Nigerians that with the deregulation of the downstream oil sector, which allows players apart from it import refined crude alongside expected output from the Dangote refinery and the turnaround maintenance of the Warri, Kaduna and Port Harcourt refineries, pump prices would definitely fall. The president has also directed that palliatives be put in place to cushion the effects of the situation, and the public also lends its voice to why this is extremely important.
There's just too much hike in price unnecessarily. So the government is supposed to have a body that will check and regulate the price generally before the fuel subsidy law is enacted, before it goes into before it goes public.
Government should go as far as importing buses, taxis, you understand, to reduce the cost of transportation. Government should provide power, provide electricity, you understand, provide water, provide basic amenities so that Nigerians can what? Enjoy. Nigeria is the sixth largest oil producer of what? Petrol, that's crude oil in the whole world. How can we be suffering like this?
I think the right thing for the government to do is to ensure that our own government refineries and that of the Kaduna, Rivers and Warri are actively producing the petroleum product.
From here to here, say 500. If now I'm going somewhere, I don't have fuel, I don't have money. Because the money I have, just I think say no go past like 3,000. Now it's saying like 5,000. Please, would I pray for government? I mean, I reduce this country.
Nigeria's major labor union has always kicked against subsidy removal and has disagreed with government on this one, saying measures should have been put in place to protect the people's interests in the process ahead of the action.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all. Their demands, a familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Her now seemingly weak body has not diminished Dr. Winifred Awoshika's love and enthusiasm for the bold mind and spelling game of Scrabble. Helped on both sides, Dr. Awoshika gingerly moved to the drums to welcome the trophy named in her honor by the Pan-African Scrabble Association, PANASA, ahead of the President Cup and the African Youth Championship, holding in Lagos in August. After a tour of some other African countries, the trophy made a stop in Abuja and Lagos and at the doorstep of the octogenarian. With undiminished faculty, despite a ripe old age of 83 years, the renowned educationist and founder of Chrisland Schools narrates how her love for Scrabble began with a chance meeting with a young man simply known as Kelechi.
I was going around one afternoon in the school, and under the shed, I saw him and some students. I asked what they were doing, and he said, we are waiting to start our Scrabble lesson. So he now told me something about Scrabble. And that he used to come here every Wednesday, because Wednesday afternoon is we call it co-curricular activities, and that's when we have sports and all sorts of games and competition and so on. So I said, I would like to organize this game between private schools and public schools.
I met Dr. Awoshika in 2010. We had just started out with the Scrabble in Schools program. We started with Christian School. That was the first school that, jumped on it. And the thought just came, the idea just came. I was walking through the office of the managing director of the school, and the idea just said, why not throw the idea of doing the tournament in honor of her name or her foundation. So we had the first edition in 2011, and then the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and the seventh, and she has not stopped.
And 13 years on, from there, the Winifred Awoshika Foundation Scrabble Tournament for Schools has explored and harnessed the potential of the mind and spelling game to help boys and girls in primary and secondary schools across the country to find expression. For her, the sport helps improve the brain power, mental alertness, critical thinking, and vocabulary of the young people.
Scrabble is an opportunity for the child to think. It doesn't know whether you are rich or poor, but you must have that thing on your head, which we call brain. It's not what you have been taught, although you must have had that the opportunity of learning, of broad learning and all that. But you must think out of the box.
Scrabble wasn't just a board game. that kids just play. It's a tool, really, and that's been our mantra, our vision. It's a tool that can be used to improve vocabulary, improve math skills, improve logic skills, improve creativity. It's a skill that can be used to, a tool that can be used to encourage out-of-the-box thinking.
The winner of the maiden edition, that's the first edition of the Winifred Awochika Scrabble tournament. I mean, wow, just remembering is like making me feel kind of old. But then, you know, remembering is also good memories too, because I remember the competition being a lot of fun. I remember I was representative of Chrisland, so actually the two finalists, that's me and the person I played in the finals, were both from Chrisland.
I represented Hallmark Primary School in the year 2012, and I am the second edition winner of the Winifred Awochika Scrabble competition. The competition helped me so much as a child, and I am so happy to be part of such a wonderful initiative. I remember specifically all the support and love that surrounded me throughout that entire experience.
Over the years, the tournament has impacted tens of thousands of pupils in public and private schools.
Now we have many schools in Lagos and beyond Lagos involved in a tournament.
Since 2010, we've introduced Scrabble to over close to 100, between 100 and 120 public schools, you know, in Nigeria.
It's a really good thing, you know. It's also telling people out there that, hey man, Scrabble is not just a board game. Scrabble is a sport. There are people out here taking it seriously. People out here winning big prizes, you know, playing the game seriously. And it's really intellectual too, because you need to be able to think critically to be able to play at this level.
She has made her school, the Chrisland Schools, available to play host to the first edition of the African Youth Scrabble Championship, AYSC. In recognition of her service to the sport of Scrabble, the continental body has named the junior trophy in honor of her.
It may have only started as a competition in the school and then it grew to the national level, but you are the only one who has touched the Junior Scrabble Championship in Nigeria, and you have changed it forever. So it was only befitting that we get the best representative trophy.
I'm very, very grateful for this wonderful accolade, honor, recognition.
It is the materialization of Winifred Awochika's dream that as many as 150 young people from across Africa for the first time would converge on Chrisland Schools in August for a high-octane game of Scrabble.
12 years ago, we were hosting a couple schools in Lagos, in the whole Chrisland School, and now we're talking about hosting youths in Africa, and I mean, that's huge progress, you know.
Over 10 years, I'm filled with so much joy to know that the competition still holds, still has been holding, and will now be hosting the African Scrabble Youth Competition. I'm especially excited to see how the competition turns out.
The 2-in-1 Panasa President Cup and the AYSC will see some of the continent's top players test each other's mental and word power for the top prize and honor.
In the month of June, the 4th of June 2023, makes it 27 years since the wife of the late MKO Abiola, Kudirat Abiola, was murdered. 5th of June is World Environment Day. On the 7th of June, the global community celebrates World Food Safety Day, while June 12 is Democracy Day in Nigeria. Also, June 12 is World Day Against Child Labor. 13th of June is a day set aside for International Albinism Awareness, while 14th of June is World Blood Donor Day. The 19th of June is set aside as International Day for the Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflict. It's also set aside as World Sickle Cell Day. 26th of June is International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. 30th of June is International Day of Parliamentarism. Brace yourself for the month of June and stay tuned to TVC News for special reports and analysis.
The Guinness World Records, known from its inception in 1955 until 1999 as the Guinness Book of Records, is a British reference book published annually, listing world records both of human achievements and extremes of the natural world. The popularity of the franchise has resulted in Guinness World Records becoming the primary international source for cataloguing and verification of a huge number of world records. Over the years, lots of Nigerians have made it to the Guinness Book of World Records, including the late Fela Kuti, who holds a Guinness World Record for the most studio album recordings released. He achieved this when he recorded 46 albums as a solo artist that lasted for 23 years. Ayo Balogun, popularly known as Wizkid, has a Guinness World Record for being the artist with the first track to reach 1 billion streams on Spotify. Bose Omolayo, an athlete who achieved the Guinness World Record in 2021 when she did the heaviest power lift by a female in the -79 kg category at 144 kilograms. In 2023, Rema became the first artist to top the Middle Eastern and North African charts. With this feat, Rema sets a new Guinness Book of Records. In 2006, Kefi alongside her team Imagnito made their mark in the Guinness World Record by participating in the Nokia Silverbird Dance-a-thon and setting a new record for the longest dance party. They impressively danced for an astounding duration of 55 hours and 40 minutes, solidifying their place in the record books. And recently, Hilda Bassi attempted and broke the record for the longest cooking marathon by an individual. Nigerians from all walks of life took to the social media to document this feat, as she prepared several dishes over 4 days on foot, only resting for 1 hour after accumulating 12 hours of activity. The experience came with a rush of mixed emotions, not just for Hilda, but for many who trooped out to watch her break the record. Many wondered if she could achieve breaking the previous record of 87 hours and 45 minutes. But as time went on, with each passing day, Hilda was getting close to her desired destination despite the obvious fatigue and stress this brought. After the whole experience, Hilda Bassi spoke exclusively to TVC News as she gave us an insight into her 5-year journey and what she went through inside the cooking booth.
Now, during the main event, I was up at 5, could barely sleep in the night because I was anxious. Now, I got to the venue at about 7:30 and everything wasn't ready and set. We had some issues with the CCTV footage that cameras we got. It wasn't picking up sound. You know, just trying to make sure that evidence was properly documented. At some points, the cubicle was shocking because there were a lot of wires, so they now had to rewire it to check where, you know, the shock was coming from. So we had a lot of issues. So, and there was a lot of press. So I got in, I did my press interviews. I was upstairs, downstairs, checking to make sure everything was fine. And because I'm anxious, I just can't wait to start. So I had already been up for 12 hours, not resting, and then I started at 4.
It's worthy to note that TVC News got interested in this story and gave it the maximum coverage required. Such activity is not easy for many who stay on their feet cooking for hours any day. So, one can understand the pressure and pain this chef went through, even overcoming a rush from her menstrual cycle owing to the stress her body went through.
It was just how willing everybody was. Everyone was so willing. It was like everybody was so willing. So at a point, I realized that I wasn't doing this for just myself. I never thought I was doing it for just myself, but at a point, it was not about me anymore. It was about every single person that was there. Because it was like, I looked at them and I'm like, these people see something in you that you like, for them to see this in you, there's something here.
In attaining any endeavor, a solid support system is important, and this, for Hilda, came in the form of her family, friends, and Nigerians who overwhelmingly supported her and gave her the needed impetus.
I did not see it in this grand global scale. And if I say, oh, I saw it this big, I would be honestly lying. You understand? You know, I just knew that, okay, this is a good initiative. It's a really amazing experience I'm trying to create. It's going to be good for my brand. It's going to be good for my legacy. And it's going to help, like, propagate Nigerians in a good light and propagate Nigerian recipes.
I feel so excited as a mother for your child to come and do that business that you did, and she's coming to do it better than you ever thought. So I feel so fulfilled at this age.
This achievement by Hilda has raised the hopes of thousands who, before now, never saw a reason to keep pushing on. Ms. Bassi believes she has given women a voice just by attaining this. It might just be 100 hours and 40 minutes longest cooking marathon, but to many it is far more than that. It serves as a wake-up call to those with dreams to achieve but don't believe in themselves enough to achieve it. Gus.
It's not a regular show. It's an online interactive session where I will share my views on the everyday issues that cut across politics, security, health, current affairs, governance, and so much more. I am passionate about our country. I choose to support any conversation geared towards building a better Nigeria. Babajide Kolaji Otitoju. Join
TVC Communications, Nigeria's leading independent broadcast company, has been officially designated as a great place to work. Over the past few years, we have transformed our workplace into one which is respectful, caring, rewarding, and provides great benefits to all our 500 employees. We thank our team for giving us the chance to show that partnership between employer and employee really works. TVC Communications, officially designated as a great place to work, and now the only broadcasting and media company not just in Nigeria but throughout continental Africa to be fully certified. TVC Communications, a great Nigerian company, a great Nigerian place to work.
Our truck has been hit. We need backup transportation. Over.
When chaos becomes the order of the day, corruption knows no boundaries.
So you want us to drug Jimmy to get him out of the way?
And oppression gets to have a field day.
Esther, is that your house?
What becomes of the innocent?
The beautiful man camp is under attack, sir. What?
Lahira premieres on the 4th of April at 9 p.m. WAT on Africa Magic Showcase.
Ovieme.
Oh, I wish you were here.
I'm always with you.
But it's not the same without you.
MTN 5G's amazing technology will change how we experience life and the internet. Get ready to encounter the incredible. And remember, no be juju, na MTN 5G.
The new Harpic sachets. It has a thick formula, so all you need is just one sachet for your toilet bowl. It gives 10 times better cleaning and big savings too.
Wow, Helen!
Sparkling clean toilet with Harpic sachet.
My name is David Oladeji Bolare. I'm the CEO, founder of Synergy Guards Nigeria and Synergy Guards UK. I'm also the CEO of David's Court. I got to know about Adrian Homes through a neighbor of mine. This is David Court, located in one of Adrian Homes' estates, Ocean View Estate, Ibejuleki. This area is called the New Lagos. This is a dream come true. My advice to individuals is to have a plan and follow those plans to the latter. The Adrian Home template is a great one. You can have your bits of the great concept like I'm doing right now. Tap into their dreams to achieve and execute your future.
Adrian Homes.
Building cities, communities, and homes.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news. At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
On the news tonight, President Tinubu suspends CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele due to ongoing investigations. President Tinubu hosts traditional rulers, promises to run an open door policy. Outside Nigeria, INEC Head of Staff tells Tribunal 2023 presidential election was peaceful. And in sport, English side Manchester City face Italian giant Inter Milan in the UEFA Champions League final. Live from our headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria, we begin TVC News at 10 with this breaking news from the nation's capital, where President Bola Tinubu has suspended the central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, from office with immediate effect. In a statement by Director Information Willie Bassi on behalf of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, this is sequel to the ongoing investigation of his office and the planned reforms in the financial sector of the economy. Mr. Emefiele has been directed to immediately hand over the affairs of his office to the Deputy Governor, who will act as the Central Bank Governor pending the conclusion of investigation and the reforms. Well, joining me live in the studio is business editor Tolulokpe Ogunjobi at State House correspondent Femi Akonde would be joining us live from the nation's capital, Abuja. Tolu, it's good to have you here this evening. You've been covering this beat for over a decade now, and
Emefiele's suspension is at this time premised on ongoing investigation of his office and reforms. But what really are the contending issues around these reforms?
Well, first is that President Tinubu was clear in his inauguration speech that he was going to sanitize the monetary aspect of that. That's the monetary side. You know, we have the monetary and the fiscal side of his administration, and that's the central bank monetary policy, controlling inflation, trying to manage the currency and all of that. And you will agree with me that one of the major issues we've faced in recent times is the forex, hike in forex, the disparity between the I&E window and the other market, which is the parallel market. For more than 3, 4, 5 years, we've been on the rate I&E window between 400 and 450 naira, and on the other side is around 700 naira, 750 naira. At the time, it got about 900 naira, if you could remember, and it came down. The same CBN governor instituted that initiative to stop the BDCs from getting forex from the CBN to try to address all of these issues. So many people have to go out of their way to get FX. Airlines cannot repatriate funds because of FX issues, and this has really not worked with all of the things that the CBN has tried to institute to address all of this. So I think that is part of the reasons why they said there's supposed to be a reorganization of Nigeria's monetary policy. And of course, when you talk about the ratio of the monetary policy rate at the moment, the central bank has continued to increase this rate. The aim is to rein in on inflation, but it has not worked. As of today, inflation is 22.22%, and our rate is still around 18.5%. So we cannot, and this will increase lending rates. How will businesses survive when you have projected before now, and at the end of the day, after a meeting, you see a change? That means your bank will write you and tell you the rate has changed, and of course, there'll be more money for you to pay. So this has affected businesses, affected investors' confidence. And when investors are not sure about how they can repatriate their funds, they won't bring foreign direct investment into your country. There is no how you try to convince them. So you see, these are the issues that have affected the central bank. The governor is always maintaining that he does some unorthodox policies, going away from the norm, trying to do things that are away from the norm. But it seems not to be working. So there are a lot of other things that should have been done that he didn't do. We've had analysts talking all around this. Before we even go to the big Naira redesign thing that happened before the election, you know what happened? For months, some people didn't have 1,000 Naira notes in their wallets, 500 Naira notes. There were no notes anywhere. Even as of today, do we have the new notes?
Well, Tolu, let's take a pause and listen to the CBN governor sometime in January announce an extension of a deadline of
the Naira redesign policy.
the redesign policy. Let's listen to that now.
On the foregoing,
well, we'll get back to this video of the CBN governor, but Tolu, you would have to still hold on. Let's connect to Femi Akonde, our State House correspondent, who is in Abuja. Femi, you are in Abuja. Talk to us about this news coming from the presidency about suspension of Mr. Godwin Emefiele. All right, we will also connect with Kemi, but then we have an economist, Okwemi Agbade, joining us also online. Mr. Agbade, what do you make of this move coming at this time, suspension of the CBN governor? It's quite a busy evening, and getting all the views together, everything coming together. Tolu, you were talking about the Naira redesign policy. This is major,
I must tell you.
I'm curious, and I'm actually tempted to ask you whether you have the new notes.
I tell you, I don't have the new notes. And even when you use the ATM, which I did earlier today, to withdraw 20,000, which is the limit, it was all old notes. Even when you go into the banking hall to withdraw, you get the old notes. So what really was behind the Naira redesign policy? I'm not a politician, I'm a journalist. But it seems like there's more to it. So there are a lot of questions to be answered around the Naira redesign policy. Why did we have to do it at that time? The pain, people lost lives. We lost people, a lot of people, even in the rural and urban areas, because people could not get monies. People could not do transfers. The banks were not prepared. They couldn't handle the volume of transaction at that time.
And to think that people had these monies in their account, but they just could not access the funds.
You can't access your funds. You can't even buy what you want to buy. with your own funds. And even legally, it's wrong for me to put my money in the bank, and when I want my money, I can't get my money. There's also the e-Naira policy. There's a lot. E-Naira policy was to try to address the issue of cryptocurrencies and all of that in all of this digital currencies. But it didn't go anywhere. How many people subscribed to the e-Naira policy? How many people are using the wallet as of today? Can we just try and investigate and get how many people? So most of these policies affected Nigerians, and they really complained about it. They came out to say, no, that's not the way to go. We expect that by December, according to the law, we should go to the new notes, go solely integrate to the new notes. But we don't even have it. We don't know if they're printed. How much was printed? How much did we get into circulation? How much was withdrawn from circulation? Monetary policy has a lot to do with all that has to do with the economy. Businesses, capital markets, stock markets, they look at what comes from the CBN. That shapes their investment. That shapes their decision. That's what will make them say, I want to come to Nigeria. But when you're not clear, when your policies are not clear, investors sit on the fence.
So you think investors' confidence actually dwindled
of course,
as a result of that?
Of course, our capital inflow dropped. Even in the market, domestic investors are taking charge of the Nigerian capital market as of today. The foreign investors are nowhere to be found. Just a few of them who still believe slightly in Nigeria or know how they can repatriate their funds by themselves. We have some guys they're coming with the hot money. They come to invest. All of this disparity between the I and E window and the other markets has discouraged this.
All right, so let's bring in Opeyemi Agbaje, who joins us now. Mr. Agbaje, what is the reaction to the suspension of the CBN governor? Did you see this coming?
I don't think the suspension was completely unexpected. I think I've been hearing your other panelists talking about the CBN Naira redesign fiasco, but that was merely the final nail, I think, in the coffin of the now suspended CBN governor. You recall that we've had many unprecedented things. This was the CBN governor who collected the nomination form to run for presidency as a member of the ruling APC while sitting in the central bank. That was morally wrong. It was possibly legally wrong as well, given the legal specifications about the autonomy of the CBN and its non-participation in politics. You recall that we've had a very underwhelming economic performance over the period of the governor's time in office. You know, we have the issue of the 23 trillion naira ways and means, which is an obvious illegality given the prescriptions in the CBN Act and other laws about the management of ways and means. So I think that there were many reasons for which it was expected that President Tinubu would take action, and he hinted at it in his inaugural address. He spoke about house cleaning, thorough house cleaning at the central bank. I think watchers of the Nigerian economy, including international partners and trading partners and international financial institutions, would probably be relieved that some action is being taken around the central bank.
Well, Mr. Agbaje, where do you see this investigation lead us?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Where do you see this ongoing investigation and the reforms in the financial sector lead Nigeria?
Well, I think that my expectation would be that the new president would like to start with a new slate at the central bank. I suspect that that is in the interest of the Nigerian economy and confidence of the market watchers, domestic and international. I think also that all of those issues that I mentioned, you would need some reckoning on them. What was the motivation for the Naira redesign? How much was spent on it? What's the status of that? The ways and means issue, what is the motivation for that? Like I said, some of these things involve elements of illegality, but most importantly, the policy posture, the policy stance of the central bank. the lack of transparency around FX allocations and who benefits and who doesn't benefit, and all of those. So I see sooner than later a new governor at the central bank, a new, more market-friendly, more rational market direction from the central bank. And I suspect that all of those, if they do happen, will be positive for the Nigerian economy.
Well, as it is, the CBN, now suspended CBN governor has been asked to hand over to his deputy governor, who is expected to act as the central bank governor pending the conclusion of investigation and the reforms. How cooperative do you see other members of the team who are working, in the CBN in all of this?
Well, I'm sure that nobody wants to go out of the central bank if it appears that the suspended governor is on his way out. I suspect that many of the people left will fall into line. But I think that what the new president should do is an unbiased investigation. And if there are any other members of the team who may be implicated in some of these events, then like what President Bola Tinubu said was that he wanted to do a thorough house cleaning. And it is possible that a thorough house cleaning may go beyond the governor. It is possible that it is restricted to a few people, but let the facts and the investigation lead us, rather than us analysts and observers making presumptuous statements. So I think the right thing has been done. You suspend the gentleman on the seat, you carry out a proper investigation. But with regard to the suspended governor, I suspect that the space for maneuver is limited. But we are not in a position to speak with definitiveness about the other members of the team.
Indeed, Nigerians and friends of the country are looking out for what becomes of this investigation, as you have said, thorough house cleaning. And people would really like to see how thorough the cleaning is. Mr. Agbaje.
Well, to be frank, I think President Tinubu has, personally, I have a lot of high expectations for Nigeria's presidency, especially in terms of economic policy. I think President Tinubu in 10 days has exceeded my expectations. I'm very proud and happy to say that. And I suspect that this will be no different. I think the investigation should be thorough. I think the facts should be unearthed. There should be accountability. So this is not just a case of you just go home and sin no more. There should be accountability where there are established infractions. And then we should be able to restore the credibility, the institutional credibility of our central bank, which has been significantly damaged, in my opinion, especially with neither the design. But that was just, like I said earlier, the final straw. We've had bans and we've had all sorts of policies that we have come to describe as unconventional. And we were beginning to normalize, I think, deviancy at the central bank, which is a tragedy for a country that seeks development. So I'm hopeful, and I urge most Nigerians to be hopeful as well.
All right, let's get back to that issue of Naira redesign policy. Just like our business editor, Tolulope Ogunjobi, mentioned earlier, it's had huge impacts on the economy. Market men and women, corporates, workers, I mean, everyone just really had some level of complaint. But then it was being justified on the fact that it was to curb corruption and it was to tackle insecurity. The fact that kidnappers would no longer be able to request huge sums because those sums were no longer with people. At the inception of that policy, what was your reaction? What was your understanding of the issue back then?
In fact, I like the question that you just had. Immediately the policy was released, I released a presentation. I looked at all the plausible justifications for the policy. And this is a public document that some people will probably have over the internet. And I came to the conclusion that you could not justify the policy on economic or macroeconomic policy and all of those. I could only suggest anti-corruption, security, and political motives that could form the basis of the policy. But even if you could justify them on those, even if you saw those three motives, it was clear, even at that time, relative to the experiences in other economies, that it would be impossible to accomplish the currency redesign for a country the size and limited banking penetration of Nigeria. It was clear, even from day one, that it was going to be impossible to accomplish a transfer of currency, change of the design of currency, exchange of notes across Nigeria within the time frame that the governor was proposing. That policy, in my view, was not just misguided, but it descended into the level of being a wicked assault on the finances, on the psyche, on the economy of our people. Our people suffered. Middle class people suffered. I suffered. We all suffered. It was inexplicable that in the 21st century, a central bank in a country the size and sophistication of Nigeria would treat Nigerians with that level of arrogance and ignorance because they were completely unfounded in their policy position. So it's now, today, it's an unmitigated tragedy. Why? We had endured all that suffering. We don't see the notes. It seems they've disappeared. It seems that even the political objectives that probably informed the policy failed. We've seen no benefit from the policy in terms of security or anti-corruption. There's been absolutely zero benefit to the Nigerian economy and to the Nigerian people from that policy. On the other hand, there was serious pain. It threatened even our elections and the stability of our country. So, for me, that was merely the final nail in the coffin of an errant, I'm sorry to say, central banking institution. I believe that we have not fully recovered from that. Even now, confidence in the banking sector, confidence in the credibility and the integrity of the central bank, all of those things, our national economic confidence, have all suffered. I'm sure that with this move, many people, observers, will be satisfied that perhaps policy is returning to rationality, to sensible underpinnings in the Nigerian economy. And that's a great thing. And I wait to see what will happen after the investigation. If, for instance, we're going to have a new central bank governor, it had better be a professional who is calm, who understands economics, who is disciplined, and who does not make some of those blunders that we've seen in the last few years.
All right, we know many have said that by the time we're going to have a new central bank governor, it shouldn't be a bank MD. It should rather be an economist, someone who understands how these things are actually done. But then finally, before we let you go, in the thick of the Naira redesign policy, many wondered the level of authority and audacity with which the central bank governor operated. Would it be correct to say he enjoyed the support of President Buhari back then?
That's the elephant in the room. Obviously, he did. It